Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome back to the Songwriter Show, right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos. I'm a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are so important to me, and that's why I'm so happy to host this show every single Tuesday evening. I believe that every song is a story. Tonight, I'm so happy to have Michael Zuzek. The upcoming roar of a newfound pop rock powerhouse has been carefully crafted by Michael Zuzek. Born in the heart of Toronto, Michael's love for piano started at the young age of 5 and has constantly grown. His inspiration stems from a deep love of 60s music and has contributed to his musical sound, intricate melodies, and vocal intensity. His first single, Greystone, serves as his musical introduction to the world and a precursor for his debut album, Everest.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Michael. How you doing, man?
I'm great, Sarantos. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. So, Toronto, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, I love Canadians, but I haven't found a mean one yet. I think I say that to almost every Canadian songwriter I have on the show, man. Is there anybody mean up there?
Honestly, no. Well, you know what? I work at a cherry farm, and they're not mean when some of our customers come in, but they can be pretty egregious. Oh yeah, they don't bother listening to many instructions.
Yeah. Well, you're from Toronto, right?
That I am.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Chicago, so you're kind of the Toronto. You're in the middle too, just like us.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you feel like we get disrespected in the middle from like the East Coast and the West Coast?
Yeah, definitely, especially the rural areas of the middle parts of North America, right?
Yeah.
I have some family in Cleveland who used to live in Chicago, actually, and they always feel that way, especially now living in the more rural areas of Cleveland. They always miss the big city, but they feel like they get disrespected for sure.
All right, man. Tell us about your instrument of choice.
All right. Well, since I was about 5, I'm playing piano with my kindergarten teacher. She first taught me how to play piano from a very young age because she saw that I was a bright student, and she told my mom that, if I decided to start learning piano, it could be very beneficial to just my overall growth as a person and my brain, and I've stuck with it ever since. And around COVID, when everything got shut down, I wasn't doing lessons anymore, but all I had to do all day was either, lay on my couch and play video games or watch movies or play piano. So I decided to play a bit more piano than I was prior, and kept taking off with my ability. And then I started writing songs maybe about under 3 years ago, but I kept getting better and better, and I kept wanting to do more, and I wrote some pretty shit songs, and then I thought I started writing some good ones, and so I think Greystone's one of the better ones.
So yeah, I think if you're a songwriter and you kind of think or delude yourself into thinking you've never written something crappy, I think you're either too naive to know any better, or you're probably the shittiest songwriter on the planet, man, because it happens to all of us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So what's your fondest or your first musical memory as a little kid or as a baby? What do you remember?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of Beatles and a lot of Rush, because that's what my dad always had on the vinyl or on the CDs. But I think the first time I guess I was, paying attention to the music around me, I must have seen the Rush Fly By Night CD cover album.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that owl always stuck with me. So I think I've come to terms that is the first kind of musical memory of mine, besides playing piano and being around button box accordions, because my grandfather and his brothers all played. So for us kids, we were always just surrounded by music, really.
That's cool. And I'm sure you picked up a lot even without realizing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It all just kind of digested.
Yeah. Are you influenced by any old records or tapes? And if so, which ones?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, my goal for creating Everest was to really envision and recreate sounds of the 60s and 70s. I was trying to use instruments like, I'm sitting at an organ right now talking to you that I purchased a couple years ago, and that's used on much of the record and using old sounds like that. But really every goddamn Beatles album, I'm always listening to new parts of it every time I listen. So I guess I'll give you a few, maybe like Abbey Road, any of the original four, Led Zeppelin's Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies is a big one for me as well. Lots of stuff like that. They all kind of stuck with me and still impact me.
So I have a question for you. Piano is my main instrument, but really I've evolved to the synth.
Okay.
Where, I do a lot in Logic Pro, so I pretend I play every single instrument known to man, even though I don't.
Yeah.
So do you hate guys like me that use that piano knowledge and just create stuff on a DAW, and they're not a great player of the flute and just all these million other instruments?
No, I find myself being that guy too some days, so I totally get it. It's just so beneficial to be able to do that, and I think moreover it actually improves your musical ability, because if you know that, okay, I can write a flute part, like you're saying, I can write a flute part this way, I can't write a piano part that way, right? So you learn a lot about yourself musically, I think, doing that. But a big thing of mine on Everest here, and especially on Greystone as well, was playing real instruments. So real pianos, real guitars, real bass guitars, real drum sets, when you can. That's a little tough, starting up. But the synths are really, really important, and I think that they should be in every form of music where you can do them. And Greystone, for example, the strings on that are synthesized. So I have no squabble, no quarrel with you.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up a good point too, where people ask me this all the time, and I can sit, and when I started this 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I sucked. I mean, it was hard for me to play anything, but through lessons and all this stuff, I learned to play the piano and got better. And I can learn almost anything. If you sit, you slow down the BPM, you learn it, then you make it faster till you're there.
Yep.
But like for concerts, I prefer to let truly gifted instrumentalists do that stuff. If you're going to be on a DAW recording any live instrument, you could slow it down. You could speed it up. You could say, oh,
very true.
Let me just play this lick. You learn that. And then, so people that truly can sit and play a 3, 5, 7 minute song and they go crazy and they ad lib and some of the jazz chords, some of these really complex things, I am never going to pretend that I'm talented instrumentally like them.
Okay.
Because I think they're like a whole other level.
Yeah, it's a very good point, actually, and it's also a very respectful thing to say and to be able to admit. So, I mean, I completely agree with you. There's certain things I would never dare to try and play on stage, and I, like you say, leave it for the really, really gifted instrumentalists.
Well, and I'm not going to name like famous artists, but it kind of pisses me off sometimes. I'll see them and they have to do, I play a little guitar for this song, a little piano for this song.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it drives me crazy because, like I said, you can learn anything, but it's like fake. I don't want to mislead the fans to think that I'm this. I don't know how to say that.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say that I'm an idiot. I don't want to say I'm not a musical prodigy, but there's different things that go into songwriting that aren't just about being an instrumentalist, I think.
Oh, I completely agree. It's there's a lot of talented musicians. Doesn't mean that they're good writers, or I mean, not that they can't become great writers, but it doesn't mean that they are as good as they are an instrumentalist, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the whole point, whether you're composing orchestra, the whole score, or whether you're doing a pop song or a rock song or whatever it is, when do the harmonies come in? What harmonies are you using? How are the instruments blending together? You can be a great bass player, a great drummer, a great guitarist, a great piano, but it's really how you put it all together. And when you take something away, when I first started, a lot of people make this mistake. I had so many damn tracks in my songs. And then you realize sometimes simpler is better. Oh, yeah. Or instead of adding like your 5th different guitar, take something away, right? It's a common mistake people make.
Yeah, for sure. It's that's a similar aspect of, playing live music. Our ears love to hear changes. So if, you're listening to a new band that's just starting out, and maybe maybe they're not the most talented musicians, but also maybe they haven't played a lot together. Sometimes you will hear that they lack changes in dynamics, right? Everything will be the same level throughout the show, and that's how you get bored. That's why you'll leave a show, right? Yep. Yeah, but I think production and conductors are similar in that way, as I played in the concert band all high school with my high school teacher, Mr. Garofalo, and he was a trumpet player. He played at one of the Olympic marches, when the countries come in and they just play their nation songs or whatever. But he was a great conductor, and I think conducting an orchestra is also different than writing an orchestra. But there are similar aspects of that to understanding, like you said, when does a melody come? How long does it stay? How, when should it leave, right? And less totally is more on the production side of things. And until you realize that, you'll probably never have a really, really good mix.
When I first started, I was just throwing loops together, right? Because I was all about the lyrics. I wrote lyrics. But talk about monotonous, right? It's like the same drum, the same 1 or 2 loops the whole song, and then you realize, oh, it should vary.
Yeah.
Wait, the pre-chorus should sound different than the chorus and the verse.
Totally.
And then it just, the more you learn, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So tell us about this song that we're going to hear.
Okay.
What inspired it? What made you want to write it and birth it into the world?
Well, when I want to write a song, like for example, there's one song on Everest that I was sleeping and I couldn't get the melody out of my head, so I said, okay, I gotta wake up and write the song. So 2 a.m. I woke up and I just wrote the chorus and boom, went back to bed, right? Because I got it out of my head. But Greystone, for example, that was a case of me just loving to play piano more than, wanting to write a song. I was upstairs in my best friend Scott's room. We're roommates as well, so he lives above me. And I was in his room and I was playing his piano because he has the same Yamaha keyboard as I do. And I just came up with the simple right-hand melody. It's syncopated, and I love syncopation because, with that way I can be my own rhythm section, right? That's why there's no drums on the song, as you'll hear.
Yeah.
But I wrote the song like that, and I remember Scott, he was laying in bed and he goes, holy crap, like, Mike, don't forget that, make that a song. I was like, okay. So I spent maybe the next few days just fleshing it out, and okay, that part that I came up with is the verse. What is the chorus going to be? What are the lyrics going to be? And it turned into like my childhood song, my youth song, my growing up song, like the Beatles being my biggest influence. I when I tell my family and whatnot, I say that's my Penny Lane, that's my upbeat story of growing up, but it's also the very vulnerable telling of it, like John's Strawberry Fields is, for example. So that's what it is, and it's really just me talking about growing up and kind of touching on not necessarily the sadder aspects of what my childhood was like, but viewing those great memories as sad today because they passed me by, right?
Sure.
So that's how I describe Greystone.
Okay, tell you what, let's take a listen, everybody, then we'll come back and talk, okay?
All right,
awesome. Check this out, everybody.
See where the police lay. Though it's long and wide, it's nowhere I wanna stay. I don't miss it anymore. I still cry from your face. The 501 is the route near mine where me and Jack used to play. Though it's gone in memory, I remember what my mama said. I don't miss it anymore. I still cry from your face. Pick me up. I bet you won't find you waiting here on the corner. I'm just waiting here in the dark, hoping that you'll pick me up when I'm a little older. Greystone's a peaceful home, but it torments me to this day. Yellow card with your name and heart still remains since you gone away. I don't miss it anymore. I still cry from your face. I said I don't miss it anymore. I still cry from your face. I took a chance on my weathered cap and a voice that you said was good. As I walked by Barren Ave, I saw you standing where I once stood, singing, I don't miss it anymore. I still cry from your face. You sang, I don't miss it anymore. I still cry from your face. There's a reason not to pick me up. I bet you won't find it waiting here on the corner.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that song with us.
Thanks for playing it. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad you could listen. I'm glad everyone can listen.
For sure. So I have another question for you. How do you figure out if a song you wrote is going to make it out into the world?
I think it's a lot to do with how I feel about it. I'm very honest with myself when I write these songs, so I can also be very honest with myself and what I think of these songs at the end of the day. And for example, there's some other songs I was working on at the time. As I usually am trying to finish stuff, whether that's recording or producing it or writing it, and that song just it kind of stuck out to me as like, wow, this is really important, like as to the way I feel about it and what I think I can do with it. But if I'm writing a song and I'm trying to constantly work at changing something or adding a part to it, or okay, this is a really cool piano melody, it's a good verse, but where's the chorus going to go? How can the chorus sound? And if I can't be totally happy with everything, I don't really scrap it, but I move on. I go to something else. So it's all about being honest with myself on how I feel about it. And I usually feel good about the ones that end up being great and that people like, and the ones that I don't like, people don't hear.
Okay. What is the biggest mistake you feel like you made with your music career that you're willing to admit in public, obviously?
Honestly, I'm fairly fresh in, this aspect of my musical life. I'd say the biggest thing I probably regret was not practicing more as a child. My mom told me a story recently that, when I was taking piano lessons growing up, probably around the age of 11 and 12, I was just, I don't even know what grade I was in then, but, I was an elementary school kid and I wanted to play video games and I wanted to hang outside with my friends. I didn't want to play the piano. And my mom would say, "Oh, Michael, do you want to still do these piano lessons? We can stop going," as they were paying a handsome amount of money each year for me to do this. And she said that I told her, no, I enjoy it. I don't want to stop, but I wouldn't practice. I would, if it was, practice at, if it was piano lessons at 6 p.m. on a Monday night, I would practice at 4 to 4:30 on the Monday night, right? And I would get there and my teacher would say, "Oh, Michael, you progressed great in this song and this and that, and let's do this for next week." And again, it would be 4 o'clock next week. I'd rehearse for 30 minutes and that would be my whole practice for the week.
Yeah.
So I wish I did more as a child, but I turned out pretty good, I think. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice to people just getting into the business that want to book shows? How do you book shows?
That is a great question, actually. I think the first thing you got to do is you got to be good enough to play shows. You got to be good enough to, as a whole band, as a whole unit, you got to be good enough to sound good live, to feel comfortable live, because if you're not comfortable and confident in what you're doing on stage, no one's going to book you. Moreover, if you do that and you put on a great show, you need some sort of recording of it, even if it's not a 2-hour long recording of the show. If it's, okay, these are my 3 best songs as a group, here, let's record these, boom. If you have that, and I feel like if you're a good enough person and you're savvy enough, to be honest, at reaching out, I feel like all those things together, sending it out and just being honest with the goals you want to achieve, you can get booked. I mean, I would never send videos of me playing to Madison Square Garden and say, "Hey, what about next Thursday?" But
yeah, well, you could.
Yeah.
They'll just ignore you.
I totally could. Exactly, right? Yeah. So I think that's a good way to go about it.
All right. What would be your ideal superpower if you could get that wish?
That's a good question. I think as a child, I always wanted to fly, maybe, but actually, yeah, you know what? Yeah, give me jumping really high, because I love basketball and I play a lot of basketball, and that was always my role. I was a great rebounder and I could jump really high and I could dunk the ball. I still can to a degree, but if I could jump like 4 feet in the air, 5 feet in the air, I mean, I guess some people can actually jump that high, so maybe they're superhuman, but that would be pretty damn cool. I'd enjoy that.
So tell us about a book that you hated that everybody else loved.
Honestly, anything growing up in high school, like any of those Shakespeare books that we had to read in class, I didn't care for much Shakespeare. I don't even like fiction, to be honest. Like for example, I loved the Harry Potter movies, but I couldn't read 5 pages of the first book. You couldn't give me $500 to do that. I like lots of biographies, like soccer player biographies, or Elvis or John Lennon books. That's what I enjoy. But yeah, if you got me reading Romeo and Juliet, no chance I'm doing that.
All right, man. All right, so tell the fans, where can they hook up with you, buy your stuff, stream it? Where can they reach out to you?
My main source of all information, Michael Zuzek, is my Instagram, it's simply at Michael Zuzek. MichaelZuzek.com is my official website where I keep you up to date on when my singles are coming out, when the album's coming out. You can also reach me there and get my business email. And if you go to either of those, you can then get my Linktree, which has my Facebook. It also has my Spotify, and Apple Music and everything. They're all just Michael Zuzek. And that is where I would go if you want to find out about what I'm doing and where I'm going to be.
Awesome, man. I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
I want to thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So thank you to all the fans out there for listening to the two of us. We know your time is precious, and thank you for spending a little bit of it with us. We hope your unique story gets heard around the world too. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every single Tuesday evening to hear other awesome artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. Have a great night. I love you all.
All dismayed, thought about our mangled past. Not sure why the passion didn't last. Seemed so horny at the start. Inseparable, nothing kept us apart. Last summer, something changed, and I stopped getting freaking laid. There's a question I keep wondering, a nagging feeling is got me suffering. Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? Suspicious, anxious, and insecure. Obsessed, ignited through and through. My worst nightmare, did it come true? Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me when I was always there for you? I took it kinda hard. Was painful being so far apart. Though we were all broken up, I never really had enough. I always felt so damn wrong, acted like a rabid dog, stumbled like a drunken man, sober slowly, I walk, then I run. There's a question I keep wondering, a nagging feeling, it's got me suffering. Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? Anxious and insecure, obsessed, ignited through and through. My worst nightmare, did it come true? Did you cheat on me? Did you cheat on me when I was always there for you? So you cheated on me? Well, who cares? I do, damn it, and I can't stop thinking about it. I hate this. Did you? Did you cheat?
Did ya?
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.